Good day, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the life of Filipino journalist, creator, and national hero who is well known for his newspaper, La Solidaridad. And that hero is Graciano Lopez Y Jaena, commonly known as Graciano Lopez Y Jaena. Philippine historians regards Lopez Jaena along with Marcelo H. del Pilar and Jose Rizal as the triumvirate of Filipino propagandists. He was born on December 18, 1856 at Haro, Iloilo, Philippines. And unfortunately, Lopez Jaena died of tuberculosis on January 20, 1896 at Barcelona, Spain. His death was followed on July 4th by Marcelo H. del Pilar and December 30 of Jose Rizal by firing squad. This ending the great triumvirate of propagandists. Lopez Y Jaena's early life was marked by poverty and hardship. He had to work as a servant to support his family and was unable to attend school regularly. However, he was a bright and curious child who loved to read and write. At the age of 18, Lopez Y Jaena moved to Manila to pursue his education. He enrolled at the Ateneo Municipal de Manila, where he excelled in his studies and became involved in the student movement. He also began writing for various newspapers and magazines, using his pen to criticize the Spanish colonial government and advocate for social justice. In 1882, Lopez Y Jaena founded the newspaper La Solidaridad, which became the voice of the Philippine Revolution. The newspaper was dedicated to promoting the Filipino nationalism and exposing the injustices of Spanish colonial rule. Lopez Y Jaena's articles were widely read and helped to inspire a generation of Filipino revolutionaries. In 1887, Lopez Y Jaena was forced to flee the Philippines after being accused of sedition by the Spanish authorities. He spent the next few years traveling around Europe, where he continued to write and advocate for Philippine independence. He also became involved in the propaganda movement, a group of Filipino intellectuals who were working to gain support for the Philippine Revolution in Europe. In 1896, the Philippine Revolution broke out, and Lopez Y Jaena returned to the Philippines to join the fight for independence. He worked as a journalist and propagandist, using his writing to inspire and mobilize the Filipino people. He also served as a military advisor to the revolutionary forces. Unfortunately, Lopez Y Jaena's health began to deteriorate, and he was forced to retire from active service. He died on April 20, 1896, at the age of 39, just as the Philippine Revolution was gaining momentum. Lopez Y Jaena's legacy as a writer, journalist, and revolutionary is still celebrated in the Philippines today. He is remembered as hero who used his pen to fight for justice and freedom, and his contributions to the Philippine Revolution continue to inspire generations of Filipinos. And here is a story that Graciano Lopez Jaena created. The story of Fray Butid portrayed an early Spanish priest from the colonial era of the Philippines as greedy, corrupt, hypercritical, gluttonous, and lustful. As a form of propaganda and protest, his work aimed to expose the horrendous characteristics of this abusive priest. Fray Butid means big belt friar, pertaining to the nickname of the main character in the story. And Graciano Lopez Jaena also created the story of sociological criticism. Since the Philippines were colonized by a much richer and larger country, it was oppressed and downgraded by the colonizers. As such, unequal treatment and discrimination were given to the Filipinos. Commoners were stripped of their properties, politicians gambled under their opponents' last penny, women were raped everywhere, and people tortured and suffered until their last dying breath. That was the life they were forced to live in, unfair, demeaning, and abusive. This can be observed in the story where Furry-Booted made an unfair deal with a farmer who wanted to grow his own crops. A man tortured since he failed to do a task. Women implicitly raped, just people who were sued, and many more. He also created the feminist criticism. Women, during the Spanish colonial era, were viewed as nothing more than toys for pleasure and slavery. In the story, Frey-Booted had shikheads, or kanding-kanding, which were a group of very young female children forcefully owned and deceived by the friar. He promised them and their family a good education, but instead, all they got were lustful, caressing, and severe rules for his nightly routine. The she-kids were expected to do their roles. There was one who was rubbing his head, one was tickling the sole of his feet, one was removing his lice, and so on and so forth. Though it was not implicitly stated that he had sexual relationships with them. And these are the details about the life of Graciano Lopez Jaena, and also the reason why he was called a hero of the Philippines. Thank you for watching!